My name is Martin Stelfox. I'm the CEO and founder of the Olive Ridley Project. We're a UK charity that operates in the Indian Ocean. Back in 2012, I visited the Maldives working as a biologist. And at that time, we were finding quite a lot of sea turtles that were entangled in fishing nets. Sea turtles are reptiles, which means they're cold-blooded. So if they've been diving for quite a long time, maybe they're foraging and they get a little bit cold, they'll come up to the surface to warm themselves up, and if there's opportunistically something floating on the surface, such as a ghost net, they will climb on top of that ghost net to bask, to heat themselves up, and then they'll exit back into the water, but unfortunately they might entangle a back flipper, and that's often how we find sea turtles, with their back flippers entangled. I put a call out to all the different biologists that were working in the Maldives at the time, and of course they were finding the same sort of problem, and then it kind of snowballed from there. We were trying to get measurements on the net, and then we formed the Olive Ridley Project in 2013. Olive Ridleys are they travel huge distances, they spend a lot of time in deep water, which is why this species specifically is more prone to entanglement than, let's say, the hawksbill or the green turtle. Since then, we've kind of scaled it up a little bit, and we've kind of approached it a bit more holistically, where we now protect sea turtles in the Indian Ocean as a whole. And we do that in a number of ways. We do that through rescue and research. So we're at the rescue centre right now. All our sea turtles are patients, and they were actually entangled in fishing nets, various different injuries from amputations to lacerations around the neck. We have the best possible care here. We have a veterinary team that look after them, they treat them, and then they release them into the sea.
We have turtles coming in throughout the year. Generally, most of the turtles are found entangled in ghost nets. So when we get them, we have to sort of triage them, find out what their injuries are, what they basically need from us in order to kind of treat them. And we want to basically release them as soon as we can back into the sea. Sea turtles are often kind of described as being ridiculously strong and hardy animals, and they often can fall through some really difficult situations. I've seen some patients that honestly I just can't believe that they still manage to survive that long a time in a net. But they do still need a lot of care. They definitely need pain medication, for example. I don't think that many people think about reptiles feeling pain, but they definitely do. Generally, after surgery and after their general treatment, they tend to be with us for quite some time. For example, their sutures take 3 weeks at least for their wounds to heal. And in that time, we can actually take them swimming in the lagoon so that they can kind of increase their strength and build up their resistance to being back in the sea, back in the wild. So the release is probably the best bit about the job. You know, when you've spent so much time and put a lot of effort into making these turtles well again, it's a massive relief really to be able to put them back into the sea. As soon as they kind of smell the sea air, get on the boat, they get a bit excited, we put them in the water and they just shoot off. We know they're ready because honestly they barely ever look back. They just want to get away from us and go down into the deep blue, and it's the best achievement really, the best feeling. Another aspect of the Olive Ridley job is not just to be a veterinarian in the clinic, but we actually go out quite regularly now on these expeditions, and it's mostly to ID sea turtles that we don't know about in different atolls, but obviously we're always looking out for ghost nets in the Maldivian waters. And recently we actually came across an Olive Ridley turtle entangled in a cement bag. It was a yellow plastic bag, and it had a really deep wound that the plastic bag has caused. So my job, or the role of any veterinarian on the boat, is to assess the wounds and see whether they need to have extra care and come to the rescue centre, or if they can actually treat the wounds on the boat and then again release them as soon as possible.
My name is Jill and I am the project scientist. I maintain our sea turtle photo ID database. We collect photos of sea turtles from tourists, marine biologists and dive guides from all over the Maldives in a citizen science project. When we get a picture of a sea turtle, we can look at the side of its face and the scales on the side of its face. Each sea turtle is unique. It's like a fingerprint, and we can compare one sea turtle against the database of already identified sea turtles to see if it's a re-sighting or if it's a new individual. From this information, we can track individuals over time. This allows us to determine abundance, survival, and population dynamics at reefs across the Maldives. One of our goals for the future is to have a marine biologist working in each atoll in the Maldives, and this will allow us to greatly increase our data collection. Our database currently sits at around 21,000 sightings. We have identified over 3,000 individual hawksbill sea turtles and around 650 green turtles. We're sharing this information with the government of the Maldives so that they can assess the effectiveness of their conservation measures.
We also do a lot of awareness and education. We bring in a lot of schools to the rescue centre so they can learn about sea turtles and get first-hand experience of what they are and what they do and what they eat and what they look like, because a lot of people haven't actually seen them in the wild. So that's a real great way for them to make a connection with sea turtles, and it's a great way for us to kind of get our message out there about the dangers and threats that they're currently under. As well as schools coming to the rescue centre, we also do visits to schools. So we have a project coordinator in various different, in the countries that we work in. So we have Shamil, who is our project coordinator in the Maldives.
Primarily, my job is to run turtle expeditions all over the country, as well as carry out our outreach initiatives. Whilst also on the expeditions, we also look for ghost nets, which is drifting around in the oceans, and we remove them if we stumble across them. We also try and reach out to as many local islands when we conduct these expeditions so that we can talk to locals and school kids about what we're trying to do in these expeditions, and also talk more about sea turtles and ghost gear. And this is something I'm really passionate about, which is why I try and do as many outreach programs as much as I can. I can already see differences of our generation to the next generation, as people are already more aware of some of the environmental concerns in the country, and that's always a positive step.
We try to base our education and awareness on the foundations of science so that we give the right information to the people that need it. We get the opportunity for Maldivian interns to come and work at the centre and work alongside veterinary scientists and experience what it's like to be a vet. We offer 3-month internships for that. 2 years ago we partnered with Coco Collection and we developed a rescue centre here at Donikolu. The purpose of the rescue centre was to try and help as many sea turtles as we possibly can in the Maldives. Unfortunately, we find way more sea turtles that we can actually help, so often our facility is completely full to the brim. Obviously in the Maldives it's an archipelago, it's an island archipelago, 1,190 islands, so you can imagine moving sea turtles from one island to another island or one atoll to another atoll is quite complicated, and it can also put a lot of stress on the sea turtle. So we do find areas within the Maldives that are hotspots for entanglement, so our plan for the future is to have a rehabilitation centre in these hotspot areas so that we minimise the amount of movement that these sea turtles are subjected to, which of course it improves and speeds up their recovery time so that we can release them as fast as we possibly can.